Hello. Welcome to Smooth's Workshop. It's Terry here, and it's yet another, hopefully, one of my quick inbox reviews. Although this particular model says its release has come out in 4 different variants, but it's all the same bike. So the bike we're going to be discussing this evening is Tamiya's part number 14073. It's a Yamaha YZF-R1. Now, this particular one is in the red and white livery with the X up and the Delta box suspension. Now, this kit was originally released in 1999, this one. Okay? Then in 2000, they brought out this one, which is exactly the same bike, but they've badged it as 14074. Okay? The only differences in the kit, as far as I know, are the suggestions for the overall colour and the decals. Okay? It is the exact same kit as this one. But they badge this one as a Tiara Racing Corporation one. Now, there was, according to the information, another new boxing of this in 2002 of a similar model. And in 2005, they brought out another new box, but there was some clear panel parts in it to allow you to show the details. Now in 2002, they're calling it 14085. I don't have that kit. So we went from 73 to 74 to 85, still the same kit. And in 2005, they brought it out under, I'm just going to have a wee quick look at this one. Doesn't it give me the part number? It's saying 89571, but that's not correct. I'm looking up this on Scale Model Mates. Anyway, basically there's about 4 kits with exactly the same components in the box. And it's just basically different variants. Okay, so I've built this one already, so I can't show you what's in the box in this. But it's exactly the same kit as this one. So I'm going to do an inbox review of this kit. So without further ado, I shall pull off the box lid. I'll stick this inside and hopefully that will hold up. Actually, the box art is quite nice. On the end it says Yamaha YZF-R1. Okay. On that end it tells you it's part number 14073. And some of the colour call-outs for it, which is very, very nice. All about the top box art, excuse me for leaning away, the top box art for this one, which is the one above it, the 074, which is the Tiara Racing Edition. Again, it just shows you that, and it tells you it's 14074. You get a few decals. They're the same kit. So no point doing 2 reviews for exactly the same kit. So I'll take the box lid off. I'll just put this in here, hold that up there. There we go. And then we know what we're talking about. So we open it up, we have the usual Tamiya instruction set in black and white, a bit of blurb about the bike. It's actually, I've built this, obviously the Tiara edition. It goes together really, really well. It starts off with all the engine first, and then it asks you to build up the frame. So the good thing about that is, from a painting perspective, is you can build the engine up and paint it all, and the frame up and paint it all before putting it in the frame. And then it's a standard Tamiya bike build order that all you guys will be used to. Yeah. So nothing complicated about the build. It goes together really, really well. So that's the instructions. Put them off to the side. There is a separate sheet that shows you where to put the decals, depending on what variant you build. And in the box there is 1, 2, 3, 4 sprues, the usual Tamiya bits and bobs, and the decal sheet. So I shall put those off to the side. Sorry about my seat creaking and cracking. And we shall pull out the first sprue, and I shall temporarily pause this whilst I take it into top down mode. See you in a bit. Hi guys, welcome back. Hopefully this is a better mode for you guys to view this in. We're going to talk about one of the first sprues, which is sprue A. Sprue A contains the front nose cone, the left and right fairing panels, the rear seat pad, the front seat pad, the tailpiece that supports the number plate. These are a couple of wee side panels, can't remember what they are. Now the important one on this, now this is a soft white Tamiya plastic, so be careful when you're sanding this, it's very soft. The left and right tank halves and the rear seat cowling and tailpiece are in 2 halves. So when you do glue those together, you will have to address seam lines up the middle. This looks like a rear mudguard. They give you a different option for the rear. If you want to do pillion, you can put the rear seat pad on, or you can put the rear cowling on to make it a single seat. Rear number plate, again, the front mudguard is in 2 halves. So when you join these together, you will have to address a seam line up the middle. Very, very crisply moulded. Lovely detail on the kit. I think that's a wee clutch cylinder or something down there. No flash. Lovely, lovely detail. All the ejector pin marks are on the rear. So you'll have absolutely no problems with that sprue. Next sprue I'm going to grab out is a small black one. Now this will be similar across the full kit range. I think the only difference is the painting etc. and the decals. Now I'm just looking at this right. We've got this as sprue C. And on sprue C, which is a black sprue, we have this looks like the chain guard and the rear and mudguard over the top with an integrated battery, left and right indicators for both the front and the rear, a side stand, front headlight insert, the rear tail light insert and number plate mount. These look like 2 inner fairing parts. We have the left and the right wing mirror, a clutch or an alternator casing, a coolant pipe, left and right handlebar grips, the speedo, which is actually quite nicely detailed with little buttons and all that on it, and the digital display and the tachometer. Top steering yoke, again I can't remember if that's the clutch or the alternator housing. Nicely detailed radiator with all the fins, and the rocker cover with built-in little spark plugs, and a fan and some sort of cap. Superbly detailed. You can even make out, let me see if I can get it the right way up. Focus, focus. The Yamaha on the casing. Really, really crisp moulding from Tamiya here. And there's the rocker cover and the radiator. That's sprue C. Beautifully moulded, no flash. Any ejector pin marks tend to be on the back, as always with Tamiya. And this is one of the more modern kits, so you shouldn't have any real problems with it. Now, right, with any bike, we're on to chrome parts. Now, although it's chrome. It's not actually chrome, it's aluminium plated via a vacuum forming process. The frame on this bike is aluminized for my American friends. So like the frame and the rear swing arm are aluminized, and they are not really chrome as such, but they're kind of chromy. You know, this might white out the camera a bit. This is sprue D. So they give you a petrol cap in chrome, which might be worth keeping. Yeah, a small sprue gate on the side, which isn't undercut, so you will have a wee nub to dress up. That's a frame spar, so you're not worried about that. The main frame itself is beautifully coated with lots of welding detail on. Let's see if we can get that into focus. See all the welding detail? And sorry if it strobes. It's just due to the lighting and the chrome parts. I don't think you could replicate that very well with paint. So where the sprue gates are, there's a tiny bit under a foot peg which you can touch up and hide. Another bit under that foot peg which you can touch up and hide. On top of the frame there, which will be hidden under the seat. On top of the frame there, which will be hidden under the tank. And the front steering, words are escaping me this evening. The bit the handlebars go through, okay? There's a wee gate in the front, which you won't see behind the fairings. There's a bit there and a bit there that the fairing mounts onto that you won't see behind the fairings. It might be worth leaving that on. Now, on the Tiara edition that I did, I left this because I wasn't going to replicate it with any sort of paint. Looking at this, this is an exhaust hanger, a left and a right. Again, you've got sprue gates on it. They are not undercut. So you might want to consider stripping the chrome off of those. The left hand swing arm and the right hand swing arm, tiny little bit of flash on there. I would say the swing arm you would have to dechrome and repaint. I think this is the bit the shock goes through on the rear swing arm. A couple of sprue gates there. Again, they're not undercut. You could touch them up and leave that as B. You've got two headlight reflectors. I would leave those as B. And again, the frame for the other half, similar. You could get away with touching those up and not dechroming the frame. Another frame spar. Right, the forks. The forks is the main thing. The tubes, I'm just looking here. On the reverse side of the fork tubes, there are noticeable ejector pin marks here and here. And there is a slight seam line down it, so you may want to dechrome those. Generally speaking, looking at the chrome sprue, I'd leave the frame, I would dechrome my swing arm, I'd leave the petrol cap, I would leave the mirror inserts. I see there's one mirror insert there. I would dechrome the exhaust hanger, I would dechrome the forks, I'll leave the frame spars as they were and the headlights as they were. So if you're going for something near a proper bike, there will be some dechroming, but fantastic detail on this. Up to yourself whether you want to dechrome it or not. Right, so there's a final sprue, and I'll just pull it out the bag. Just give me a wee second. Now this bag actually has two sprues in it, but the good thing is the clear parts are in here, but they are in a separate bag so they don't get all scratched. So I'm not going to pull this out the bag, and it might white out the camera, but the front fairing screen looks to have good optical clarity and nicely moulded. You have the rear lights. I'm just trying to see what this is. That's the front headlights and the left and right indicators. So they're all really nice and clear and really well made. Nice optical clarity. Keep those as is. And the final sprue is sprue B. Okay. Sprue B is in a silver grey metallic, and it has the rear brake disc and both the front rear brake discs. Now they do give you some detail that the discs were drilled. I would advise drilling them out with a small pin drill to give you a more realistic effect, because I don't think they make PE parts for this. Then you have the carburetors or injector blocks. You have the front and rear upper cylinder casings, left and right main engine casings. That looks like a wee clutch base, possibly the sprocket cover. That looks like the rear brake pedal with the master cylinder, the bottom yoke, another casing cover, sump, rear shock absorber unit, starter motor, another part of the rear shock absorber, chain sprocket set. Now there's a tiny little bit of flash on this, but if I can get this into focus, you'll see the detail on it is actually not bad. So a wee paint up and a wee oil pin wash would be lovely on that. Radiator cap, don't know what that is. That's the top suspension clamp. Not sure what that is. Left and right rear foot pegs. Rear silencer, main part, and the other half. Luckily they're not chrome, so you'll be able to take away the seam line. Another front pipe, another front pipe, another front pipe. Obviously there's 4. You've got rear brake lever or gear lever linkage. You have a paddock stand as well with this, so you can make up a paddock stand for it to stand on. And again, the 2 wheels, front and rear, superbly detailed, crisply moulded, tiny little bit of flash here and there, all the ejector pin marks on the rear. And finishing up, you have the usual bag of Tamiya bits and bobs: the screwdriver, rear spring, bag of screws for top yoke, sorry, for the steering, rear suspension, front wheel and rear wheel, 2 different grades of vinyl tubing for brake lines, spark plugs and radiator hoses. Lovely detailed tyres in rubber with, I'm just having a look, tyre sizes on. They actually brand the tyre as Michelin's. Absolutely fantastic. You'll get a wee bit of flash up the middle of the tyres, but they're road going tyres, so just dress them up. And the last little bit, here we go, are the decals. Now, I'm not 100% sure if these are Tamiya or Cartograph, so here we go. They are Tamiya decals. These ones are 1998. Yeah, Tamiya decals. They're actually nice and thin for all the different liveries. They're all in register and in focus and really well made. I don't think you'll have a big problem with these, even though they're not Cartograph. So they're really quite lovely. So 13 minutes, I'm getting good at these. So this bike, sorry I hit pause, this bike, right, the 14073, and my chair's creaking away, is exactly the same as 14074. Okay, apart from a different paint job, right, and different decals. And there's two other models which are variants of these ones above it. I can only do reviews on the kits that I have. Haven't built this one. I built the one before I had my airbrush. Fantastic kit, fantastic tooling, very little flash, go together perfectly. You might have to strip some of the chrome parts off, but yeah. So I hope you find this useful. As always, any comments or questions, leave them in the section below. It's Terry from Smooth's Workshop, and hope you're enjoying your hobby. And as always, happy modelling. Bye.